Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping right into the really fast-moving world of cryptocurrency. Our plan for this deep dive, we're going to unpack a whole stack of live market updates, news, everything happening right now. Basically, give you a shortcut to understanding this complex crypto landscape. And we've got some pretty big things to talk about. Think bold Bitcoin price predictions, some frankly astonishing altcoin surges, major institutional moves, and yeah, those crucial regulatory shifts too. The goal is really to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the key insights, give you those aha moments without, drowning you in data.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots, isn't it? Seeing how the market action, investor feelings, and what governments are doing, how it all fits together.
Okay, let's kick things off with Bitcoin. We're seeing it had that dip, right? Down to around $114,500 after hitting that all-time high of $123,000. But it has bounced back a bit to $115,300. Looks like it's testing some key support levels right now. So what are the analysts saying? Where does it go from here?
Well, the predictions are definitely grabbing headlines. You've got analyst CryptoCon, for instance. He's suggesting Bitcoin could hit $166,000. And this isn't just a number plucked out of thin air. It's based on a Fibonacci model, one of those technical analysis tools. Apparently, it's been pretty reliable for Bitcoin over the last couple of years.
$166,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you have John Glover, the CIO at Litecoin. He's thinking more like $140,000 sometime this year, though he does add a note of caution, mentioning a potential bear market, maybe in 2026.
Right. A bit more conservative, but still bullish for this year.
Exactly. And then, of course, you can't ignore Michael Saylor, his very bold call for a $21 million Bitcoin eventually. Well, that certainly turned heads. It even seems to have sparked some extra interest in certain altcoins, people thinking about the long term.
It really feels like there's this growing conviction, doesn't it? Especially when you look at the institutional side. We're seeing this massive shift, corporates getting involved. How big a deal is this?
Oh, it's fundamental. It really changes the game. Look at the Bitcoin ETF assets. They've just exploded from $20 billion to $162 billion. That's not just pocket change.
Wow.
Yeah, it's serious institutional money finally flowing in, giving crypto a whole new level of legitimacy for, the mainstream investor. And get this, if you combine Bitcoin and gold ETFs, they're now worth over $500 billion together. $500 billion. That's a huge milestone.
$500 billion. Just those two.
And another thing, the SEC raising the position limits on Bitcoin ETF options. That's actually quite important. It lets bigger players get more involved, which could, theoretically, help smooth out some of the wild price swings, make it more stable, more attractive.
Oh, less volatility, potentially. Makes sense.
And you see it in company actions, too. Metaplanet, for example. They just bought another 463 Bitcoins. Their total stash is now 17,595 BTC. That's worth about $1.78 billion. And they're aiming for 210,000 BTC by 2027. Just incredible ambition.
210,000 BTC.
Yeah. And then there's the Smarter Web company. They raised 8.1 million pounds right after stacking up some Bitcoin. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? For you listening, how does this kind of corporate Bitcoin buying affect their actual stock price? Is holding BTC now a value driver itself?
Interesting question. Okay, so while Bitcoin's grabbing headlines with institutions, its success seems to be creating waves elsewhere too, right? In the altcoin market.
Yeah.
What's jumping out there? It feels like things are really dynamic.
Yeah, dynamic is the word. Even in the Memecoin space, things are evolving. Take Pepetto, for example.
Yeah.
It's trying to be a utility-driven meme coin. So not just about the hype, but offering actual tools like a no-fee exchange, cross-chain stuff, trying to set a new standard, really.
Utility from a meme coin, okay.
Yeah, there's even Chatter. It could, gain serious traction, maybe even challenge Dogecoin eventually. And beyond Pepetto, you're seeing buzz around others like Spark and Maincore, too.
Fascinating. So the meme coin space is trying to mature, maybe. And what about other altcoins? We've seen some just huge individual moves lately. What stands out?
Oh, absolutely. Some really dramatic stuff. Let's look at, say, MYX Finance. It went nuts, skyrocketed over 200% in just one day, hit an all-time high of 0.3664 hours.
100% in a day. What drove that?
Pure speculation, apparently. No big news, no protocol updates mentioned, just traders jumping in. It shows you how fast sentiment can move these things.
Right. Pure hype.
Exactly. Now contrast that with Athena. It rallied nicely, 11.23% recently, which is good, building on a massive 140% surge it had back in July. But
yeah.
There's a catch. There's a big token unlock coming up. That means a lot more supply hitting the market, which often pushes prices down. Plus, There are signs of whales, big holders selling off.
Ah, so potential headwinds there, despite the recent rally.
Precisely. It shows the two sides, pure speculation versus growth may be tied to something more fundamental, but still facing those market mechanics like unlocks.
Gotcha. Any others making waves?
Definitely. Litecoin, LTC, it jumped over 7% to $120. People are saying this could be the end of its, 3-year quiet spell. There's growing hope for an LTC ETF, sort of like Bitcoin's. And then it added another almost 10% over the weekend.
Okay, Litecoin waking up.
Yeah. And Solana and Binancecoin, BNB, they're also pushing towards new highs. Conflux, the CFX token, surged 14% over the weekend. Lots of speculation about China. Though analysts are a bit cautious there. They point to, stagnant activity on the chain itself and centralization concerns.
Right, so hype versus fundamentals again.
Kind of. And then there's Kita, rallied 13.5%, apparently boosted by a donation they made to a clean water project linked to Mr. Beast. So sometimes it's PR that moves the needle, too.
Wow, Mr. Beast moving crypto prices. Okay, so it's not just the coins themselves, but bigger entities, corporations, protocols making moves that shape this space.
Exactly right. And it raises that question again, how deep are traditional players getting? BitMine Immersion, believe it or not, is now the largest corporate holder of Ethereum. They've got, wait for it, 833,137 ETH, valued at $2.9 billion.
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot of ETH.
It is, and Sharplink Gaming isn't far behind, relatively speaking. They boosted their ETH holdings to $1.65 billion. The Ether machine also made a $40 million ETH purchase recently, takes their total to over 345,000 coins. These are significant bets.
Clearly.
And on the corporate side for other tokens, Verb Technology raised $558 million specifically to become the biggest public holder of Toncoin. That signals real institutional belief in TON.
Right.
Then you look at the protocols themselves. The Cardano community just greenlit a big funding proposal, $71 million for a year-long upgrade plan. They're focusing on scaling, making things better for developers, interoperability.
Okay, Cardano investing heavily in his own future.
And Chainlink launched data streams for U.S. stocks and ETFs. That's a big deal for connecting real-world assets to the blockchain, tokenization. Onto Finance is another one showing promise. Gained about 1.67% recently, and analysts think August could be strong for them because of new partnerships.
And just when you think you've heard it all, Trump Media, the Truth Social company, they're planning a utility token and a digital wallet.
Yeah, part of some kind of reward system, apparently.
Even though they reported a $20 million loss last quarter, that's certainly a choice.
It is. Shows how crypto is intersecting with all sorts of areas, doesn't it? Even politics and media.
Definitely unexpected.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly away from the markets and companies and towards those really big external forces, regulation and the wider economy. What's happening on the regulatory front? It always feels like a moving target.
It really does. It's this global patchwork, Like in Hong Kong, their stablecoin bill kicks in August 1st, 2025. It sets up a licensing system. They're clearly trying to become a major digital asset hub.
Okay, Hong Kong making a clear play.
Then in the U.S., you've got SEC Chair Paul Atkins announcing Project Crypto. Sounds like a big effort to update securities laws specifically for digital assets. It could be huge for tokenizing traditional stuff like stocks or bonds.
Project Crypto, that sounds significant.
Could be. Meanwhile, over in the U.K., former Chancellor George Osborne is basically sounding the alarm, saying the UK is falling behind and needs to get its act together with crypto regulation, be more proactive.
So pressure building there too.
Seems like it. And then you always get these rumors bubbling up again about China, a new crypto ban, even though they already have a pretty comprehensive one in place since, September 2021.
Right, those rumors seem perennial.
They do. It just shows how uncertain and, frankly, volatile the global regulatory picture still is.
Absolutely. And these markets, they don't exist in isolation, do they? What about the broader economy? How's that playing into things?
Well, one thing people are watching is potential changes at the Federal Reserve. If new leadership comes in and cuts interest rates, that's historically been good for crypto prices.
Why is that?
Lower rates often push investors towards assets perceived as riskier, like crypto, searching for higher returns. We're also seeing U.S. stocks rally a bit, the Dow up almost 300 points. Seems like investors are maybe shaking off recent worries about jobs, data, tariffs, that kind of thing.
A bit more risk-on appetite, maybe?
Could be. Suggests a slightly more optimistic mood in the broader market, which can spill over. But here's a really fascinating development, tying into national strategy almost. French lawmakers are actually drafting a bill to use surplus electricity from their nuclear power plants for state-backed Bitcoin mining.
State-backed Bitcoin mining.
Yeah.
Using nuclear power.
Yeah. The idea is to turn wasted electricity, energy they can't use or sell, into economic value by mining Bitcoin.
Wow. That's definitely thinking outside the box for energy policy.
Yeah.
But I can already hear some potential criticisms. What about the environmental angle or, the whole idea of Bitcoin being decentralized? Doesn't state involvement kind of clash with that?
That's the core tension,
Yeah.
absolutely. On one side, it's pragmatic, right? They have excess nuclear power. Why not try to monetize it? Makes economic sense on paper.
Okay, I see the logic.
But on the other hand, yes, it absolutely bumps up against that original cypherpunk decentralized ideal of Bitcoin. Having the state involved in mining, that's a very different picture. It's maybe a sign of how crypto is being perhaps assimilated or at least integrated into traditional power structures, even if it changes the original flavor a bit.
A real sign of the times, maybe. Okay, let's pivot to the business side more directly. We're seeing traditional finance and crypto merging in some really interesting ways. IPOs, big investments.
Yeah, the Circle Internet IPO going well was a big signal, showed there's strong public market appetite for these established crypto firms. And now you've got Bullish, that's the crypto exchange, backed by Peter Thiel, filing for an IPO in the U.S. They're looking at a valuation of $4.23 billion, aiming to raise maybe $629 million.
Another big one potentially hitting the public market. So what does this trend tell us, these IPOs, these high-profile investments?
Yeah.
How is TradFi really stepping into crypto now?
It feels like we're past dipping toes in the water. It's more like a strategic integration now. Take Centrifuge. They just hired Jürgen Bloomberg, a former bigwig at Goldman Sachs, as COO and CIO for their on-chain asset manager, Anemoy.
A Goldman exec jumping over.
Exactly. And this is happening while the market for tokenized real-world assets, putting things like real estate or bonds on the blockchain, is predicted to boom into the trillions. It shows serious TradFi talent sees massive potential there.
Right. Trillions potential.
And another example, KCS. That's the asset servicing arm of Crédit Agricole, a huge French bank. They've taken a minority stake in Cryptown. Why there? To launch Lisa's, a blockchain-based exchange specifically for small and medium-sized businesses and mid-cap firms, directly linking traditional business finance with blockchain.
So building bridges directly.
Precisely. These aren't just random investments. They feel like deliberate strategic moves by major financial institutions.
Okay. And speaking of major players, let's talk Coinbase, kind of a bellwether for retail crypto interest, right? But the news there seems mixed.
Very mixed, yeah. On the downside, Compass Point just slapped a sell rating on Coinbase stock, cut their price target to $248. Their reasoning, they see retail interest waning, plus more competition heating up. And Coinbase shares did take a beating last week, down nearly 20%, their worst week since September 2024, actually.
Ouch. What triggered that drop?
Disappointing Q2 earnings showed a huge drop, like 88.8% in net operating earnings per share. Suggests maybe the retail boom is cooling off, hitting their bottom line.
Okay, so that's the bearish view.
That's the bearish view. But then you have benchmark analyst Mark Palmer. He sees this dip as a buying opportunity. He's sticking with his buy rating and a $421 price target. So complete opposite take.
Interesting. A clear split among analysts.
Definitely. And adding another layer, CEO Brian Armstrong has been pretty outspoken lately. He criticized the UK for banning a satirical ad Coinbase ran. He argued it shows an outdated view of crypto and highlights the need for clearer rules.
So in-flight financial uncertainty, USARNA regulatory battles, lots going on there.
Yeah, sums it up well.
Okay, and let's quickly touch on Binance. What have they been up to?
Well, they've been tweaking things, adjusting collateral ratios for like over 10 different digital assets. That's basically risk management stuff for their users. And they also just made Bitcoin options writing available to everyone on their platform, with a 20% fee discount, too.
Options writing for everyone.
Yeah. They say it's driven by rising retail interest and more, sophisticated trading tools. Suggests maybe the average retail user is getting a bit more advanced, looking beyond just buying and holding.
Interesting shift. Okay, to start wrapping up our main deep dive, we need to cover security, always a big topic, and then maybe end on some of the stranger news items.
Right. Security first, unfortunately, still a constant issue. We saw the Creditex finance governance hack recently, lost about $4.5 million. It was a multi-sig admin exploit that's usually supposed to be more secure, needing multiple people to approve things, but it still got compromised. They had to take the protocol offline.
Did they get the funds back?
They said they would within 24 to 48 hours. But it's just another reminder, right? Even systems designed for security can have vulnerabilities.
Yeah, definitely concerning.
And on a totally different scale, remember that huge Bitcoin heist back in 2020, the biggest one that year?
Vaguely. How much was it?
Initially, it was worth $3.5 billion, but because Bitcoin's price has gone up so much, that stolen stash is now estimated to be worth around $14.5 billion.
14.5 billion.
Billion, yeah. Just puts the sheer scale of potential losses into perspective for you.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the weird stuff.
Oh, yeah. Two really stand out.
Yeah.
First, the statue of Satoshi Nakamoto in Lugano, Switzerland. It got stolen.
The Satoshi statue.
Stolen. And then recovered in pieces, dumped in a lake.
No way. What happened?
Police think it was just vandalism by some drunk people, but still pretty bizarre, right? The statue of the anonymous creator ending up in bits at the bottom of a lake.
That is truly strange. And the second one?
Justin Sun, the founder of Tehran. He actually launched into space.
He went to space, like astronaut space.
Yeah, on a Blue Origin rocket. Apparently it was a long-held dream of his. So, just another Tuesday in crypto. Founder goes to space.
You really can't make this stuff up sometimes. What a journey we've just covered. Seriously, from those huge Bitcoin predictions, the altcoin frenzy, the big money moving in from institutions, all the way to regulatory pushes, security scares, and, well, statues in lakes and founders in space. We've hit a lot.
We really have. And I think this deep dive, it just hammers home that core idea, doesn't it? The crypto market isn't just one thing. It's this incredibly complex mix now. Technology, speculation, traditional finance, they're all tangled up together. It's not some niche thing anymore. It's a real force in the global economy.
Yeah, undeniable.
And that really brings up a big question, I think, for you listening. Look at France exploring state-backed Bitcoin mining. Look at the SEC trying to write the rule book with Project Crypto. What does all this mean for that original dream of decentralization? Are we just seeing crypto get absorbed into the old systems? Or is something new actually being born here, some kind of hybrid future that tries to balance the innovation with, the established way of doing things?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? What stands out to you about this push and pull between traditional power and these decentralized ideas? Definitely something to keep pondering.